Why not record? Oh, it's record. Is this okay. It's a little bit slow today. Here we go. In your notebook, right? 3.6. We're on the 6th lesson. We're coming to the end of the unit. And this is called data security. You know how to say security in Chinese? 安全。安全是第一, right? It's really important to be secure. So we're going to learn how to make the computer secure. So in your notebook again, just make sure each note. Did you get your fumu to写他们的名字 into your notebook? Okay, I'll have a look. Make sure that you have the title, the date, and you do not need to copy the PPT. I will 划起来的重要的东西. Okay? Because we want to just put the summary of the important things. Some have the 图片, it just gives me the 想法 about what it's about. Okay? So in security, we have 3个东西. So you need to write down. Security has 3 topics. One is called security. Okay? So in your notebook, put 第一 is security. 第二个 is called privacy. Okay? We're going to talk about each one, but you need to know what each one of these means. And the other one is called integrity of data. For the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about the internet security, about viruses, about privacy, and about passwords and things like that, about the MIMA and things like that. Okay? So, in your notebook, just write down security. What is security? Carol? Safe. Now, when we're talking about security in there, let's just have a quick look at the textbook. Data security is a requirement for data to be available for all users. So that means when you Baochuan, it's going to be there for you. So let's just write down, because security, we're talking not just about security, but it's about your data. So in your notebook, put data security is so that my data is available. My data is safe and available. That means that if I save it on there, it's 安全. Okay? If I go onto the internet, I can find it. If I go on my computer, it's there. Can you just write down what is data security? And it's not lost, mail lost, all that stuff. So if you can, you don't have to write this whole sentence, but I put that. How can we do that? Well, we can make sure that our computer's up to date, that make sure we have a firewall. These are all 安全的东西 that we can do to make our data safe. There's antivirus software, having strong passwords, user permissionings, and things like that. But we're gonna talk about that more in the future. What you just need to do is just make sure that you understand what is the definition of data security. Carol, what is data security?
Data is safe and available and not lost.
Very good. Okay, 第二个东西 is called data privacy. You may have not heard this, but in your notebook, let's just write it down. You need to know the definition. Yuna, what is data privacy in your own words? What does that mean? Privacy. Data privacy. What does data privacy mean?
Like something by myself.
That's right. It means that the data is only available to you or the people you want to see. You know when you go on TikTok, you can share the video to your friend, but some people you don't want to share. So private data means it's only for you. So let's write down this. Data privacy is for data to be only available, seen by me and who I wish to see my data. Do you want me to see your Mima? Do you want me to see your password? Do you have a password for your computer? So that is you want that to be Antran, right? You don't want to share that data with me, otherwise it's not private. Now, when I go on the internet, can people see me there, Carol? People can see you on the internet because you have this thing called cookie. Do you remember how we talked about the cookie? We have this thing called website cookie. Yuna, have you heard about Bingan? The website Bingan? What is this? Do you remember this was from before the holiday? What is a cookie? Bingan, what's your Bingan? When you go on the internet, you know Bingan? When you share it, the Bingan on the table. So everywhere you go, I can see where you go on the internet every day. So that's the idea. Bingan, what's your Bingan? It's an idea that when you go, it's a little piece of information that's saved. We have two types. There's persistent cookie and there's session cookie. Okay? We have 两个 bingan. One is called persistent, and the other one is called session. 你记得吗? Remember, you have to. I know you break your leg and you were away a long time, but you have to catch up. Okay? So the other one's called session. Persistent is 永远保全. Session is only when you open the thing, and then after it's 没了. So, can companies see your cookies, Carol? Actually, Taobao and TikTok, do they know what you like to watch on TikTok? Does Bilibili, Kenny? Yes. And so there are internet websites like Bilibili and TikTok, they actually are 保全, they're saving some persistent cookies and some information about you. They may know what you like on the computer. And this is not private. And so some companies, there's this data protection law. Data protection law means that when you go on the website, it says, do you agree to cookie? 有没有看到了? You go to a 网站 and then it says, 你需要同意一下. You have to agree to go because they're saying, can I use your privacy? You can 同意 or 不同意, right? So if you 同意, they're going to 保全. They're going to say what you do. And then they can give you a money because they want to sell your information on the internet. Okay? And so there's a data privacy law that says that companies need a 同意. Is there some companies that 他们不给你同意, they just save your information without you knowing? What do you think they're, Is there some 网站 that they don't ask, they just steal your information without you asking? 有没有? Yes, they have. But there's a data protection law that should 保全 your privacy, okay? But not all companies, they're the bad companies that steal information, okay? Okay. What is HTTPS? Have you ever seen this S? What is this there, Yuna? Have you ever seen this HTTPS? What is the HTTPS? What does the S mean? Secure. 这个是安全. What is this for? Is when you go onto the internet, you want to see this log. What does this mean there, Carol? If you see the log, is the website Antran? Yes, because if you go to the 银行 Bank of China.cn, if it's not Antran, it means it's not secure. Okay? And so there's this thing called security protocol. It means when I send my data, it is encrypted, so other people cannot see my MIMAP and the information on my screen. Okay? And so you have to be careful when you go on the internet, just make sure that it's Antran. Do you ever go use this thing right here? What is this called? 叫什么？微信支付宝, right? Is it called 支付宝?
No, it was another.
That was Alipay. What is the 微信 Pay?
微信支付.
微信支付. Now, 微信支付 is 微信支付钱? Is it money? This is actually data money. We call this digital money. 它不是元. He's not money. He's like a fake kind of money. It's not real money moving. It's this a number. It's just a number. It looks like money. 但是 we call this a digital currency. It links to your 银行. Okay? So this is a 公司. Is this a bank? It's not a bank. What's happened is you have a bank and then you have a 支付宝 or Alipay or whatever, and they have this thing called digital currency. Okay? And then they exchange and then they take the money from your bank. Okay? You can put then they come and take the money outside your bank. Okay? These days, we have a new type of bank. You may have seen. What is this? And we need to study about this. What is cryptocurrency? Have you ever seen this, Yuna? Have you ever seen the B? What is this? 看到了吗? B is Bitcoin. Now, okay, so let's write this down. This is called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not digital. We have this, so we have 两个东西. 一个 is digital currency. This is just like online money. They take the money from the bank. Okay? 他们 is just a number on the internet, and then they connect to your bank to take the money in. Okay? 但是 we have other one. It's called cryptocurrency, and it's 不一样. So we need to know these two things. Cryptocurrency 是什么东西? It is a type of money that does not use the bank. Okay? It's a type of 钱, 但是 it's not real money. It does not use the bank. Okay? It does not use the bank. What we have is we have different computers with this blockchain. Okay? We call this blockchain. And this has some data that represents money, 但是不是钱, and it's not connected to my bank. But you can use money to buy this. We're going to watch a short 电影 to see what this is all about. Okay? Because it's a little bit easier to watch. This is what happened. Right now, they use lots of power and they use computers to do the 书写 about the math. And they make the data on the internet that represents money. 但是不是真正钱. Okay? It's just like digital currency, but it's not connected today. And then people buy it. Okay? So let's have a watch. What is cryptocurrency? And it's one of the things that is on the culture. They want to let you know about, is it the different type of money, about the safety and things like that. Okay? So let's have a quick watch. What is cryptocurrency? Let me just turn up the mic. Okay,
Good lord, what does all of it mean? So, welcome to the one video that will take you from crypto noob to crypto genius. I'm going to tell you what it is, why it keeps becoming more important, what I've actually invested in myself, and the dark side of it. Okay, so when society was in its early stages, there was no such thing as money. We'll call this stage one. The only way to buy something off someone was to go up to them and be like, oh, I really like your horse.
You want CC?
I'll trade.
Do you want the CC or English is okay? You want the Chinese? Let's put the CC. It may be the 那个字 maybe small. If you need, you can 捡起来 if you need there, Carol. Okay, 准备好了吗? Let's go.
Trade you my cat for it. Sorry, Milo. I'd never trade you.
Let me zoom in.
But the issue with a system like that is that even though you might be perfectly happy to give up your horse, you just might not want a cat. So that trade will never happen. But that's where currency came in. Stage 2, coins, which, because they were made of precious materials like gold and silver, everyone just accepted that they were worth something. You've heard of the British pound, right? Well, the reason they're called pounds is because £1 literally just used to be £1 of silver. And so all of a sudden in a trade, it doesn't matter if you don't want my cat. As long as I have coins, we can still trade for your horse. Even if you have no use at all for the silver, because it's a precious material, you have that reassurance that you can take that coin, give it to someone else, and trade for something that you do want. Convenient, right? But then this evolved to stage 3. As banks became established and governments had control, we realized that as long as there was trust in the system, we could move away from needing to carry blocks of precious metal towards something even more convenient. Paper money. It does the same thing, but now the money doesn't have value because it's made of pure silver, it just has value because the government says it has value. Like this £10 note here in the UK, the note itself is just made of, well, it's actually made of plastic. They changed it recently because it's more durable. But if you look closer, you can see that all this actually is the Bank of England promising that they will pay the bearer of this note £10. Really, this is just a receipt, a kind of proof that you own a certain amount of money. But as technology has improved even further, we found even more convenient ways of storing and trading our stuff. We're now in what I would call stage 4, where more people than ever are buying things online and using credit cards, and really when you're at that stage, we don't see our money anymore. It's not about coins or notes or cats, it's just entries on a spreadsheet. Like when I buy a music album from Amazon, all that's happening is that my bank adds an entry in my spreadsheet that says Aaron now has $10 less, and then Amazon's bank adds an entry that says they have $10 more. So, the reason I've given you this entire intro is to give you context on where cryptocurrency sits. It's seen by many people as the most convenient era of exchange ever. Stage 5. The way to think about a cryptocurrency is that it's 100% virtual. I know the logo for Bitcoin kind of looks like a physical coin. It really is a Bitcoin now. But with crypto, there is no gold, there is no silver, there is no paper. It really is just the transfer of digital assets. But the core concept is exactly the same. Think of them as literally just running spreadsheets of who's paid what to who. But instead of multiple banks keeping their own separate records, with crypto, there is just one enormous spreadsheet of every transaction made using that currency. And this is called a ledger. Okay, we all love a good spreadsheet, but what's all the fuss about? Why is everyone going crypto crazy? Well, there are some distinct advantages to a currency system like this. One, it's decentralized, which means that while every transaction of a given cryptocurrency is all recorded on the same ledger, there are many, many copies of that ledger, and anyone who is a part of the network has one. You might have heard of cryptocurrency mining, or Bitcoin mining. Well, all that is someone who set up a computer to crunch through transactions on their copy of this ledger or spreadsheet. There are already about 1 million Bitcoin miners around the world, and Bitcoin is just one type of cryptocurrency. The reason they're doing it? Well, if you dedicate your computer's power to mining, say Bitcoin, then you will earn some Bitcoin as compensation. So the result of this is that if I go into a store and spend 5 Bitcoins on something, then instead of just checking with one bank's records, the shop instead checks with every single computer on this network if I have enough. And assuming I do, each computer will give the go-ahead, and then every single one will update their records independently. So because you end up having this many copies of exactly the same ledger, it becomes very easy to tell if anyone's trying anything fishy. Who bought this? Like if I try to hack into someone's computer that's on the network and give myself more money by adjusting figures on their copy of the ledger, it's not going to get through. The system will realize that.
Okay, Carol, what is Bitcoin? How is it different? Have you seen it before? What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is not money. It's just like money. It's just like paper. But you go to the bank. Bitcoin, you know, what is the difference between Bitcoin and digital currency? Did you see? Were you able to read in the thing? What is different? Does it use the bank? It uses the computer. And a whole bunch of computers, they have your money. It's an algorithm. And then when you pay a Bitcoin, it subtracts from it. So it does not use the bank. Okay? So in your notebook, let's just write down what is Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency, okay? It's like a digital money, okay, that does not use the bank system. Okay? It's something new. I have a question. Have you been to other countries? What countries have you been to? You know. What countries have you been to China? What other countries have you been to? No? Carol? What countries have you been to? Have you been outside China? What happens, what kind of money do they use in the UK? Do they use the Chinese yuan? What money do they use? They use pounds. And so if you go to the UK, you need to go to the bank, and they're going to give you pounds, but they're going to take some of the money as a transfer. So Bitcoin is an idea that 所有的国家 can use the 一样的钱, okay? And it's called cryptocurrency. It doesn't use the Bank of China. It does not use the Bank of England. It does not use the Bank of America. It doesn't use a bank at all. It uses a digital thing. And then what happens is all the computers, they have a file that it's called a blockchain. What is the blockchain? It's write down the blockchain. So the computers, they connect all your 钱 together. So when you pay money, it changes to all the computers. Okay? So blockchain data is your money, amount stored on other computers. Okay? And so there's a whole bunch of copies of that money there. So it uses computers to keep track of the different money, but it doesn't use the ink. Do you need to show me this one? You haven't copied it down. Can you copy it down? And then, yeah, okay. Carol, can first have a copy, okay? And then we'll, when you have that copy, you can send it to Swap, have with Zhong Chuxi, okay? You got it? Okay. Do you need to go get some water? Go take a break, 5 minutes, okay? 上个厕所洗脸, and then we'll start in 5 minutes. Okay. We just need some time for Carol to catch up. Maybe the computer makes you tired. The TV, do it. Do you have that, Carol? Can you go, 洗脸? Cord button. There we go. Yuna, can you summarize what is cryptocurrency? And how is it different than 支付宝?
Digital code.
It's like a digital currency, but it's not. What is the difference between cryptocurrency?
Use the bank system.
Cryptocurrency use bank? No.
Bank?
支付宝 use the bank. That's for cryptocurrency 不用 bank. I put a little X. It uses computers to save some data. Okay? Yes. Okay. Now, I'm not going to talk much about encryption, but you can just think. Encryption is when you send, you know the HTTPS? How is it entrant? It's because your password, your information on the data on the internet, it uses an algorithm, truth to change the data. That's why it's entrant. And that's called encryption. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. But today, we're just going to talk about the data. Okay? So, data is like the stuff that you're storing on the hard drive. And sometimes there's problems with data. Sometimes maybe you drop your hard drive, okay, on the computer. You can lose data. Maybe there's a natural disaster, like the house catch on fire. These are natural things that can happen to your data. Okay, so maybe you have fire, you can access damage. Okay, so what can you do to protect yourself from these? Is we do the thing called backup. We should know what is a backup. Carol, can you explain what is backup? Have you heard about backup? Backup is when you make a copy of your data. Okay? And so you can make maybe 2 copies. And so if you lose one data, you have another one. That's called backup. Okay? So backing up your data is important for that. Okay? You can put it on the cloud. And in the cloud, it uses the server. And so, for example, all your... Okay? And you make it back up there. In the olden days, you could make a backup on a floppy disk or a USB. You can also baoquan. Let's say you have some Joyoung pictures, some 图片. You can either save it on the internet as a cloud, but if you save it to the cloud, it's still maybe not 100% safe. 对不对? You could also save it because of privacy. Maybe the server 他们偷你的图片. You don't know. But you could save it to USB and keep it in your home. 但是 if I put on USB, what is the problem? I can lose. And so using the cloud storage, what is an advantage of the cloud storage there, Yuna? Why would I want to use the cloud versus USB? Tell me some 想法. 为什么 I would choose this or choose this? Yeah, you can save and it's 方便, right? It's convenient. Okay, you can access many locations. Carol, what is a 不好的东西 about cloud storage? Yeah, what is 不好 about storage? The 保存 on the internet. Okay, you need Wi-Fi. What is some other 不好的东西?
Maybe
Who owns this? Is this me? Who owns the server?
Not very,
It may not be all of the privacy, right? The privacy is who owns it. This is the 租的, it's rented, 对不对? And so maybe we don't know who is taking care of this. Okay? USB, it's me, right? I can store it, but maybe you lose it. It's more 方便, it's very easy to lose this. I put it, 我丢了, 没了. But on the internet, it's more convenient that I will not forget where it is. Okay? So just make sure you understand about some things there. Now, have you ever there's other security, sometimes on your phone. Do you ever have a security like this? What do we call this? This is like a fingerprint scanner. That means it's me. This is also 安全. Okay? So biometrics, 你可以写这个单词. Biometrics is to do with your physical body. It's about your body. It can be about your eye, right? Sometimes you go. It can be your voice, 你的声音, and it can also be like fingerprint. Okay? So you need to know that we can also 安全 about the security of your device. You can use biometric. Okay? There's voice, fingerprint, retina, iris, things like that. You just need to know this word here, biometrics, and what it means. Because we want to be 安全. Do you ever use the biometric for your phone? 有没有? Do you use? Carol? You have used? It's more for me because I will never forget my fingerprint. 我没有忘到. This is 方便. And it's secure. Other secure thing is logs. What is logs? Is when I go into the PC, it's going to 保存那个 time. Who go onto my TikTok at 什么时间? This is also other thing that can make it 安全. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is called data validation. Okay? And I made a little 2PN here. Cats enjoy running really long forest paths. This is when I have some data. Okay? Sometimes I have to do data check. If I do a MIMA, this is, for example, it's 2 characters long. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 checks that we should be able to do. One is called range check. Okay? Range check is how long it is. 2 characters. If I have a MIMA, maybe they say it has to have 6 characters long. 对不对? Have you ever seen on the MIMA, it says 不可以太短. It has to be at least 6 characters. So there's a range check. Okay, this could also be about numbers, like 1到10, a range number, a length. This is for the password, the characters. The type, maybe it's a string or integer, or maybe it's the chansam, it's a symbol. Okay? Presence check, you can't have 空着. Okay? You cannot put a MIMA that's a male MIMA. 对不对? Format check, okay, that's this. You have a check digit. Is it in the correct order? Okay? And so here is an example on the IG level culture. Can you read it there, Carol? And then let's just write down about the data check here. Yeah, it says a validation check to make sure the email address has @ Because when you have the 邮件, you must have @ What is this type of thing? Is this a range check? Is this a range? 不是. Is this a visual check? 不是. Is this a presence check? Or is this format? Let's have a look. Presence and format. What is the difference between presence? Format makes sure data follows a certain pattern. It must have like this. Okay, so the answer is what? The answer is format check. Okay, so this is kind of like an example that you would see. The correct answer is D. We are right. Okay, last one. Yuna. Can you read this paragraph right here? And then let's find out the answer.
A program needs to make sure
The characters.
inputs for product code.
Yep.
Product code. With
These rules.
all these rules.
Yep. We have 3 rules. Tell me, what is the rule? The rule is?
The product code is off.
Is that better?
The product is 6 characters in length.
Okay, tell me, what is this check called? Yeah, this is called length check. Okay, the first 2 characters must be PD. What is this? The very first 2 characters must be PD. So we can go back here. Remember, there are a total of 6 things. What did it say? It said the first 2 characters must be those things. So what is that called? Anyone know? Not visual. This is called a format check. It must have 2 things, PD. Okay? So that would be called a format check. Okay? Let's see here. So we'll call this format. And then the last one. The last 4 characters must be a number between 1000 and this. This is called what? This is called a range check. And so you need to 背起来 these. That's why I made this 2 p.m. to help you remember. Just remember a cat going to the forest. Cats enjoy running really long forest paths. What is this bit? R. R is like for range. Okay, I think this is called check digit. Okay, so this is called check digit for cats. R stands for range. Okay, because you just have to remember 这个单词. There's check digit, there's range. F stands for format. Format. Okay? So there's range check. There's length check. Format check. There's presence check. Okay? P for presence. And so this is a quick way to help you to remember each of these checks. Okay? And so today is about security, and then we're talking about the MIMA, things like that. And this is kind of like the example that you would see on Kaoshi right here. Let's see if we're correct. Length, format, range. Length, format, range. We are all correct. Okay? So your schoolwork, I want you guys to go on Teams, and this is work on 3.6. Is this 3.6 lesson? Yes, about security. Okay, so this is your homework. I'm going to have a quick look about yesterday's homework as well, but then you just independently use your laptop and you can go on to the homework folder, okay, called 3.6. And this is kind of like the answers right there. So go 3.6 and then Baochuan. Explain what is the Antran security. What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is like a money that does not use the bank, that uses blockchains. Sorry. There's a total of, I believe, 4 questions there. So you need to Fujit 3.6. And as you do that, I'm going to have a quick look at our notes. In your notes, can you just write down those? Do you have those things, the different checks? Okay, good. You have those checks as well written in your notes. Okay, and just make sure that you can put a Jubilees for each one, so you know what each of them mean. Okay, and have a look at the PPT. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop this one.